Hi and welcome to another of the After Hours Conversations at the Power of 50. Here today, it's been the spare parts focus, and as always on these brief sessions, it's my privilege to speak to the people that are a wee bit smarter than me, that have had some really good conversations all day long. And Johan is my guest, and again, great conversations. Thank you so much for joining us for this little bit of a debrief. Before we have a little chat and catch up, can you just tell our audience at home yourself, for those that don't know you, who you are, who you work for, what you were here talking about?
Yeah, so my name is Johan Östlin. I work for a company called Syncron, specialized in service, specialized in IT solutions for that. My specialty is pricing and contract price specifically at this topic. What we have been doing today is really talking about how to become better at the service contract areas with the people here.
Yeah, and I love the format of this event where we have the bounce from some great presentations from companies that are doing good things in the industry that we're seeing. Always some impressive numbers that are posted, especially in those opening presentations. And then we're seeing 50 people that are all industry leaders, all focused on this one key area. And then we have the joy of bringing great partners like Syncron into these conversations, because we know that you're working around these areas and bring more than just a technology platform, bring ideas and answers. One of the things that I picked up on across the conversations that I sat in today, seeing it across the number of the presentations, we're seeing that service revenue is becoming even more critical. We're seeing service, finally, is starting to get a bit more of a voice within the executive suite. But that makes the challenge on parts management, inventory, pricing, makes it even more critical, doesn't it? Are you seeing an even greater focus on getting these things right now? What was your kind of feel for the challenges that you were seeing today?
I think the main thing that I see is I don't think it's really technology related to the extent. I think the main thing here that I take away from this is that the OEMs are getting pressure from independent companies that supplies spare parts into their customer base, and they really need to respond to that threat. It's growing. It's always been, but with the digitalization of the world, really. I think my main conclusion now is that the focus has come a lot to kind of grow the business. The main thing there that they have, the OEMs, is the service, the know-how, the expertise about the products. And I think what comes clear to me is that to be able to keep that important spare part business and the profitability in that business, you need to protect it. And as the competition becomes more fierce, addressing service as a mediator to actually keep the customer becomes much more important for the OEM to keep that revenue. So it's actually kind of protecting that and trying to grow it.
There's an interesting point then. This came up a little bit in the panel towards the latter part of the day, when we started to touch on the conversation around servitization. Having done quite a lot of writing around that, I literally wrote the book. One of the challenges that I think a lot of companies haven't quite managed here is the move to outcome-based or servitization or through life cycle engine, whatever term we want to utilize, doesn't necessarily fit for every company in terms of everyone in our client base. And so we need to protect that revenue, because this is a conversation you see quite often. We can't go down there because we're going to lose the parts revenue. And we know that roughly 70% of most service revenue is parts revenue. And I think that what I took away a little bit today was, for both sides of that coin, it's absolutely vital that you've got a grip on the visibility on your inventory, that you've got the right price and that price is dynamic. Because if we're moving into a servitized business, well, then we're effectively an internal customer, and we need to make sure that we've got that pricing efficiency for ourselves right. Yeah, at the same time, we need to make sure that not all of our customers are going to want that level of servitized business, and we need to make sure we're serving on there. long way round that was. I apologise. There was a thought that came into my head. But I suppose the question I would put to you on that is, do you think that it is a case of getting these tools like Syncron, getting the technology pieces in play that are fit for purpose as well, I think is an important part, because there are so many moving parts, no pun intended. Mm. Do you think that is actually, that solves multiple issues? Because that's what I'm starting to get to, is there are multiple benefits, regardless of the service strategy, regardless of the driver, whether it be sustainability or whether it be improving that bottom line. Mm. The same tools, like yours, are approaching multiple different issues that I'm hearing. What's your thoughts on that?
I think, in the beginning of the IT development age, I think you could do a lot of, the basic elements were not really covered. Mm. But I think now it is becoming much more hygiene. If you don't accelerate, or if you don't keep track of being able to deliver on time, deliver the products when the customer needs it at a good level, right? You're out of the business. So you have, it's kind of, it's starting to become hygiene. Now the question is, okay, so now we need to be there. We need to have this in place. The question is, okay, when we are in that position, how can we accelerate that? And I think so if you look at Syncron, our traditional suite is about ensuring the right level of stock to the right person, having a good price for this. But the next level really is, okay, how do we take that hygiene, our good operations, to actually grow the business? Service contract is one of our new products that we launched to the market, and really to drive that to the next level with the servitization, trying to, with our capability to actually now deliver to the customers with good service, with good prices, but also couple this together into the contract so that you can actually deliver on your promise. Yeah. So the hygiene has to be there, but the next kind of step to actually bring the business or take the business back is done to a large extent through the service contracts, and how you package this, how you actually deliver that. I think this is a key thing to be able to resist the competition from independent players that are trying to cannibalize on your business.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a slight tangent on this one, but it's something you said there as well that's making me think. Yesterday's event, e-commerce, obviously in the B2B space, very, very aligned. That's why we hosted the two Power of 50s simultaneously, one after the other, because there is some overlap, even with the audience. We've seen different people sit in both. One of the conversations we started talking about yesterday was digital product passports. And again, this is going to have a huge impact. And from that hygiene point, we have to really... It's no longer nice to have, I suppose, is where I'm going there. It's getting to a must-have. Would you say that's perhaps... Look, I'm supposed to be hyperbolic. I write headlines for a living. But I called it an aging workforce crisis 10 years ago. Now it is. But I do feel that there is a sense of urgency that we need to improve our inventory data, improve the hygiene, make sure that the logistic channels are tightened up. All of these things are coming to a kind of a cross in the road where we really need to move forwards. Do you think, so I'll put it this way, is that hyperbole, or is there a grain of truth in it?
No, but I fully agree to that point. It's if you are not really running a very good operation, then you open up for other people to come in and grab that space, right? So the only way really to survive as an OEM, as original equipment manufacturer, is to drive some sort of edge. And as people are getting better and to cannibalize in the areas where you're not succeeding, then that's the big challenge. And I think when I talk to customers in this forum, and I think this forum is really great because you have, the senior persons within an organization that actually works on this on a day-to-day basis. you really get the feel of, okay, what's actually going on? How are they tackling these challenges? Not really on a high level. You really understand that, okay, to be able to do this is the things that needs to be put into place, and this is how we can actually work with this to continue to be great companies.
Yeah. I've got one final question. You've been really gracious with your time, so thank you. And I've just got one final question, and it's for those watching at home that may be thinking, we don't have that height, we don't have that data, we are falling behind. What's the route forward? What's the first route forward? Because I'm a big believer in everything should be iterative. But what would you say to them is that first step that they have to take? Is it process? Is it technology? Is it rethinking how they're structured, their people? Retraining for the tech so we know where that is? What's the first most important step to address that problem?
I think if I kind of look at the customers that we meet, they might be in very different kind of stages.
Yeah.
Some are really advanced and some are really basic, and it depends on resources and the capabilities that you have within the company. So especially, we talk about crawl, walk, run kind of approaches, and especially on when smaller entities that are not as mature, they don't really have these hygiene factors in place. I think if I kind of look at the low-hanging fruits, let's say it like this, pricing is super powerful, especially for the immature areas. For example, working with segmentation is a typical kind of low-hanging fruit to understand what is your really commercial business and what's your captive, where you have your proprietary parts. So understanding the profitability, and there you can have really strong return on investments. Also, on the inventory side, if you see that you have poor service levels, you have huge stock levels, that's also very much of a hygiene element, meaning that, okay, we need to be able to bring that area. So I think fixing the hygiene is always prioritized for the ones that are, a little bit
further back.
A little bit further back, and it doesn't have to be so advanced in the first case. So I would say that taking the first steps, and in the end, it's processes, and it's teaching the organization on how to work with these kind of processes. And we being an IT solution provider, absolutely, that's the mechanics that makes this all work in a process environment. But finding out the processes first is the key thing, and then you advance over time, right?
Yeah, it's not a case of putting in the IT and the technology and just pressing a button and fix. We have to think really through what these processes are, how we're going to, and then we utilize the tools. Great tools like Syncron, but it's the process that has to be that first iterative step. Yeah. Brilliant. Look, that is exactly why we invite you in to have these conversations, so we can bring out those little nuggets of insight that we can just again extend. What's quite a small exclusive group. You said a lot of industry leaders brought together, and we can extend that and bring some of those insights to the wider community. So really good to see you. Really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Take care.